Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the DDuckcast. Today we are hosting the event in English because we have a really important and, to be honest, one of my favorite players around the world in Riftbound. And today I'm lucky to have a small chat with Alanz. How are you?
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. Just getting better after getting sick at the Paris, but pretty excited about set 2 and the ongoing events.
That's nice to hear that you are getting better. You know, the flus are always a pity. First of all, I would like to talk about how was your experience in Houston and the regional qualifier. We know you got quite high. You got up to that top eight, then lost to the Ani that also won the tournament. How was your experience in the tournament so far in general?
It was pretty fun. I faced pretty much all the matchups I expected to see at the solid ratio, like a lot, mostly just mirrors and a bunch of Auroras. Perhaps I'll, facing Auroras at zero multiple times was more surprising to me. Like facing three total, I expected them to do a lot worse, which wasn't the case. I guess players were not prepared as much for the matchups. That's hence the deck did so much better. But outside of the deck, I was pretty much expecting that I'll be able to outplay most people in the mirror, and I had the deck prepared to be favorite into everything that's not a mirror.
hmm It's curious because during the time that your list went public after the event was finished for obvious reasons, it was not public during the event, right? I heard a lot of chat, especially about your decision of not running Dreaming Tree, which at the moment was one of the main battlefields that were being run in all the Kaiser list so far. But what was your approach to, okay, I will not bring Dreaming Tree, instead I will bring the Scandalic Sanctum, which there's quite a lot of opinions because it's also a battlefield that may benefit your rival more than it benefits you. What was your approach to, okay, I will bring this?
It's the exact case for the Dreaming Tree because Candlelit doesn't benefit your opponent as much as the Candlelit doesn't benefit your opponent as much as Dreaming Tree can. Where yeah, in some matchups, like if you think about it, it can give you like let's say 5 to 10% advantage, but so it can do to your opponent. Where playing a river row, which is an instead of the Dreaming Tree here, can benefit pretty much to the same extent you or your opponent if you're playing a mirror. However, into other matchups, it's just straight up beneficial to you way more than the opponents. Meanwhile, Dreaming Tree is way too beneficial for E, for Ani, even for Victor, and there is absolutely no reason to be giving them so much more agency when you can just be playing a better battlefields instead.
It's great approach. I think so far when I was trying the battlefields that you chose, it felt really comfortable, and so did also felt comfortable the fact that you are only bringing one time warp in your main deck, and I know you have talked about it in your stream. You came with the approach that having two time warps in the Kaiser mirror is not beneficial. Why was that? Because I've heard in a lot of groups the discussion like, okay, I will run two time warps in order to being almost always able to find one, and people have valued it a lot in the mirrors. And you didn't seem to go with such approach, and it clearly paid well. Why was it?
Basically, you don't get to you need to be playing a bit more tempo the matchup, and time warp is good when you can walk into the battlefield pretty freely and like without committing much resources, and you can usually get in by just committing one unit to the battlefield. And in the matchups where it's hard to get on the battlefield, which is precisely mirror, it gets a lot worse. So I would be never putting like second time warp into the mirror, and that worked out for me because I haven't lost a single mirror in the competitive game of with the Kaisa.
Mhm. So far also it was a lot of chat about the triple lecturing yodel on the sideboard instead of the main. mainly people were talking about it that your list was really focused towards the mirror. But I think you talked about it in the stream also after Houston. Like you were not bringing the three Yordles in your main deck, but why was it?
Basically, I always open with River Row, which allows me to preserve the highest value while having a pure tempo main deck. And once I'm out of the River Row, game 2, game 3, I bring Yordles back when I need to get the back value elsewhere while not having access to River Row anymore.
Hmm. We also see the triple thermobin, which was clearly against the Aurora. I think people were running two, but you chose to run three, I guess, in order not to risk the Aurora matchups to go awfully bad. Am I right?
Could you go again? Sorry.
The triple thermobin, we saw people were running two only, but you decided to go with triple thermobin on the sideboard. And if I am
I
not mistaken,
mean,
it was
mhm.
to avoid any problem with the Aurora decks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you run two off, one is pretty much doomed to be ripped off by Mind Splitter or Sabotage, and
Mhm.
then you're relying on drawing last one. Like it's like running. You could run as well zero at this point.
Mhm. It also gave us, to me, which was one of the most highlighted plays in the entire tournament, in your matchup against Misfortune Aurora, in which you enter the Candlelit Sanctum, you see the two cards on your top, with you draw one with the Geyser, and then your rival proceeds to go to up to 11 runes or 10 runes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 10 runes. That's correct.
Sabotage. He cannot find the Thermobin, plays the Aurora, and then, of course, in the next turn, you draw that Thermobin to completely destroy that Aurora and rain a lot of the value.
Hmm.
How did you felt about, okay, this is the right play? Because people were talking that that was a play lots of players would have not went for. They would just instead, okay, I will draw the Thermobin, not expecting the sabotage over there.
Yeah, that's essentially that was like another heads up play to this. I played a Yordle just to make sure because I had no other play this turn. So I made sure I'm like staggering my draw to the maximum. Like I could have risk of top decking that beam, but it was more like I didn't want to intentionally draw that card. So I could try to hide it as much as I can to prevent ripping it off my hand. And that, like for me, this is just a standard play because I did it million times already now into Aurora. And people who like are claiming that MF Aurora was a counter to Kaisa. Meanwhile, I have over 70% win rate against Aurora with Kaisa, where I only lose usually game one and
Mhm.
I win game two, game three pretty much 90% of the time.
Mhm. I also remember you talking on the stream that you felt really secure about game two and game three because your opponent went with Aspirant's Climb on your first game, which makes the game go up to 9 points instead of 8, and it's probably the most powerful battlefield. So that was really curious. For everyone, you should check that BOD if it's not already uploaded to YouTube. I'm not sure.
I have all the games that were streamed on the YouTube as well. For so if you need any footage, it should be there.
You should probably go check it out. Also, another one of the plays that people really called out in public, it was the matchup against the Annie, if I'm not mistaken, that triple smoke screen, which was crazy. Why did you were saving all the time? You were saving those smoke screens, which in other situations may be valued, but you ended up having three on your hand, coming up to you. That if it was a buy, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember correctly. Why did you save all those three smoke screen? Like, okay, this is going to happen eventually. I will retain this tree in my hand, just wait for the exact moment to, okay, this is the play, right now is the moment.
I mean, every game of Riftbound is unique because based on the battlefields and the hands you were dealt with, you have to make a proper macro plan. And my hand was particularly bad at this game on top of the miss trigger. So I had to just make up for it with some game plan. And the game plan was to have a, like at all point, trying to have a Darius with up mana that can defend against maximum stack Vi, calculating that opponent will be able to get like one or two more cards into the graveyard with Ride the Wind and another one starting off different battlefield and then going to the Darius. So essentially, I was trying to just put him on this type of hand range, and if he doesn't have that, if he tries to go with Darius into me, if he tries to go with like Darius double cleave, I just auto win. If he doesn't have the Ride the Wind plus the Vi in the spots.
Did you also did mention probably one of the most crazy moments that people saw during the match against the Ani. It was the arena's greatest miss trigger, which
Mhm.
probably has given you a lot of headache because I think you should have won the game if you didn't miss the trigger, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah, yeah.
You
I
checked
did
that
go through
also.
the game and I looked at different lines opponent could have taken if I didn't miss it, and it was pretty much guaranteed win if I didn't miss it. But I did, and that's okay. Like nothing bad about it. Happens.
You got to learn from the
Like
mistakes,
I
yeah.
won plenty of games because my opponents misplayed as well. It is
Mhm.
what it is. Just suck it up.
Mhm. It's as I said, you got to learn from your mistakes. Probably it's not going to happen again, right?
Yeah,
Moving
absolutely.
forward on set 2, today we got access to the tickets from the regional qualifier here in Europe, in Bologna. Did you manage to get tickets?
Yeah, I got into the Bologna and I'm on the wait list to the Vegas.
Oh, also Vegas went on sale. It's nice to see that you are excited for set 2. Which is
Mhm.
the legend that you think so far people have already started testing set 2? We've seen lots of Dravens, lots of Annies. We have also seen Irelia and Ornn so far doing pretty well on the online tournaments. And now that the set is out in China, we have a mirror to look forward once the set comes out here in Europe. What are the things that you are more interested upon bringing to the table?
So essentially, you just have to see general matchup spread and see. I don't want to play the deck that can like has a very polarized matchups where it's very good into one thing, but it's very bad into other thing. I'll be looking forward to a deck that can do generally well into everything, as well as Kaisa in the set one. And so far, Kaisa in set two looks pretty much alike, but just completely differently built.
We have seen lots of lists of guys played in China that are bringing up the new mechas. They are bringing the Ferrous Forerunner, the six energy, one red
Mhm.
power, 6 might that when he dies plays three power make units. What are your approaches? Because during your stream I heard you talk specifically about the opening of Plundering Poro on turn 1, turn 2 conquering with the power, creating a
Mhm.
gold token into detonating your own token, drawing 2. You were also talking about the new Red Raven and the Rengar. How much do you think the Kai'Sa lists are changing right now, especially with the
I mean,
beginning?
I changed half of the cards I had in my deck already, and I'm testing right now. A bit less draw, a bit less of the like the slow cards, and just a lot more high value cards that they have immediate impact on the when played.
Mhm. That's curious because lots of people have been building up their tier list. Some more rage baiting, let's just say, than others, and
Mhm.
lots of people have been putting Kaiser on less around B tier, C tier, in the opposite of the purple decks, which, if you agree with me, it's one of the strongest colors coming up to a Spirit Forge.
I mean, every color got like I think purple got the most support out of it, and it's gonna be probably the tough. The thing is, Kaisa covers both of the uh, weaknesses and strengths of the purple because on the other side it can get countered with hard bargain against the time warp, but on the other side the purple key and strongest cards are Fizz and Ezreal, which are both weak to Falling Star, so and Ray. So both of those like weaknesses and strengths of the deck gets covered by the Kaisa. So I'm not too worried about like the some other random tier lists, while people just being usually clueless about the game, especially at the new set launch.
And coming up also with the new set launch, we have heard you teasing the people with a MetaFi guide that was going to be updated for the set 2. Is that still on the line? Is that still coming? People can learn from it?
Yeah. Right now it's pretty much all much written, but I have to still do recordings and voiceover, and then it will be updated for the set 2 after Bologna to not spoil the tag. Maybe before Bologna. Depends what deck I bring and my prep group brings. But if none of us brings my updated Kaisa version, I would update it before Bologna. However, if it's gonna be another one of us will be bringing it to Bologna, I'll have to keep it secret until at least day one, and then I'll update it the second it's official or like spoiled at the main event.
And talking about the prep group, we've seen the all of your members did amazingly good in Houston.
Mhm.
So far, if I'm not wrong, you were one
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
we went on
best
to top 10.
performing uh, groups in the entire tournament. That's lucky because Rebound it's bringing lots of new players up to the board, people that has not played in their entire life physical cards, which I think you talked about in your stream also that you have never played like a game with physical cards besides some Flesh and Blood. Did you play also? I think
That is correct.
you played Legends of Runeterra and some TFT. I think you played Hearthstone also.
Yeah, yeah, but that's like digital is nothing like physical. I think those like you can develop a good macro plan type of game plans and like the habit, but a part of that you still need to learn a lot how to play the physical card game.
Is there that's the case for most of the players in your team, or it's different?
Uh, mm, Prismat is like me, however, other I would say only Randy has a wealthy experience in card games coming from Yu-Gi-Oh! And the One Piece, and the rest of us are all competitive players coming from different games, not only card games, but we all have one thing in common that we have a very good macro planning, which is essential for Riftbound to do well. Because if you are trying to play only one turn at a time instead of playing three turns ahead, you're usually not going to be very successful.
So it's in a way it's pretty similar to like chess games. How are you feeling
Yep.
about Rebound coming into the future? Especially against the let's say this big three of TCGs being Magic, Pokemon, and Yugi, perhaps also One Piece. Because we are looking into local game stores and people are talking about it. People are speculating about how good the game is going to do. Probably the only problem that the game is having right now is the low availability of the cards and the product. But how are you feeling so far of Rebound in, let's say, 6 months forward?
Uh, I can't really compare it to the other card games because I'm not insightful enough on those matter, so I usually try not to speak when I'm clueless. However, in terms of Riftbind itself, I think the floor is extremely low, which means that whenever a new player comes in and the player doesn't have to have any connections with other card games, they'll still have fun. Whenever they are losing the game, they don't feel like they got crushed because they get to score a few points here and there. Sometimes they get to six and they have a feeling, oh, I got close to winning. When I'm sitting in front of them, I know they were never close, but they still have the feeling that, oh, I got close. That game was close even though I lost. And then on the other side, the ceiling is extremely high because you have so many decision making points where you can just win based off that or lose based off that if you make a crucial misplay at a certain point or a big play.
And finally, and we can close it up. How is the competitive rebound scene in Poland?
It's quite big. We have very potent like the stores hold up to like 80 90 players nexus nights at the warsaw that are the biggest ones, but like the average is I would say between 30 to 40 across the whole poland. And we have a quite a scene coming from different card games, from one piece, from a magic, from flesh and blood. pretty much competing across all the world, having the world champions, like even Urlik, or multiple top 8 finishes, players such as Duofan and Shadet, just traveling across the different events and doing well.
So thank you very much for having a chat with me. Is there any message that you want to send to you, the people that is coming to see this, not only from Spain, but hopefully people from all around the globe?
Yeah, just want to shout out all the Riftbound enjoyers because the game is absolutely amazing, and want to just assure you that like you shouldn't be worried too much about the product availability. It should be solved pretty much soon after, at least what I've been talked to the Riftbound devs and the people that are in charge of making sure the product can get in your hand. So just stay put. The pricing should get also more reasonable, and the deck shouldn't be costing more than 200 for like a top tier deck coming even with the most expensive epics. And yeah, shout out to every listener. And yeah, hope you're just gonna continue enjoying the game as much as I do.
Thank you very much, and again, hope that you keep doing well. Good luck in Bologna, and hopefully good luck in Las Vegas as well. Thanks everyone for coming here another week. This week not being in Spanish, which is probably going to have hard time for some of our viewers. We'll have the interview uploaded in Spanish. Thank you very much for attending.